We're talking about India's ongoing elections. Most polls in India suggest the Hindu nationalist BJP is likely to topple the Congress-led government in New Delhi. If that happens, the controversial Narendra Modi becomes India's new prime minister. How does the BJP reconcile its Hindu-centric agenda with India's secular ethos? Well, joining me now, Chidanand Rajghatta, US correspondent for India's largest circulated English newspaper, The Times of India. From New Delhi, Professor Sanjay Kumar, who extensively researches and writes on Indian voting habits and demographics, and Indian author and journalist Sadanand Dhume from the American Enterprise Institute is also with us here in the studio. And Sadanand, let me start with you. It looks like Narendra Modi will become the next Prime Minister of India, but he comes with a lot of baggage, especially over his alleged involvement in the Gujarat riots. So how does he move past that?
I think the story of Narendra Modi over the last 12 years has essentially been a story of moving past that. I think if you look at his rating numbers, for example, in 2002 and 2003, just after the riots that occurred on his watch, they were in the low single digits. If you look at his approval ratings now, Pew just did a recent survey, they're close to 80%. So essentially what Narendra Modi has done is reinvent himself. Most Indians do not view him through the prism of the 2002 riots. Most Indians view him through the prism of economic development and firm leadership.
And he's done well there in his state.
He's done very well in terms of economic development. And also he's been helped enormously by the fact that a Supreme Court ordered investigation has found him not legally culpable for the 2002 riots. So that itself, for many people who were fence-sitters, the fact that an investigation ordered by the Supreme Court has said that he was not responsible, or certainly not responsible in any legally culpable way, has given him that final fillip that he needed to transcend that in the eyes of most voters. I'll add there's one very big exception to that, which is Muslim voters. Overwhelmingly, they are opposed to Narendra Modi, and overwhelmingly, 2002 remains an issue.
Okay, but you mentioned the India's secular ethos, Anand, and my sense is that this secular ethos is a way of tempering anybody who comes to power in India. You have to remember that the BJP has ruled Indian states at various points before, and each time there's been an overreach, there's been a communalization, or there's been an overreach of the sort of Hindu far-right agenda, they get voted out. My sense is Narendra Modi, anybody who comes to power, the secular ethos of India that you mentioned, it trumps their divisive agenda.
Right. Does that mean that although Muslims may be in the minority, the vote that they bring will be very important to whoever comes into power?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, their votes are always important. But the fact is, for instance, with Prime Minister Vajpayee when he came, despite the Muslim reservation, about BJP, he was personally a well-liked person. Narendra Modi is not in the same league yet, but coming to power has a way of tempering leadership in India. So, if Narendra Modi is going to push a development agenda rather than a communal or a divisive agenda, I think he'll find plenty of people willing to work with him.
Okay, Sanjay, do you agree that Narendra Modi has moved past his connection with the Gujarat riots of 2002 and that he's not seen that way in India, at least domestically, and he's seen mainly on his economic performance in his state, Gujarat?
Certainly, 2002 is 12-year-old, and if you talk about Narendra Modi in any state of the country, people would hardly talk about 2002 and the Gujarat riots. People would always consider Narendra Modi or would project Narendra Modi as a person who has done so much of development in Gujarat and who is a leader who seems to be very, very strong, capable of taking strong decisions. So I think, yes, I agree with other panelists that 2002 Gujarat riots is an old story and people don't consider that. It's only among the Muslim communities. As soon as we talk about Narendra Modi, the anxieties are among the Muslims. They are anxious. They are a little anxious about BJP coming to power. More than BJP, it's Narendra Modi becoming the Prime Minister. So the anxiousness, the anxiety is only among the Muslims. But there is kind of an euphoria among the Indian voters, more so in the urban areas, among the young voters. And they're all looking forward to a BJP government and Narendra Modi becoming the Prime Minister. So this 2002 riots is no more on the minds of the Indian voters in general.
Sadanand, if, as Sanjay says, there is that anxiety about Narendra Modi among Muslims, does that mean that Congress automatically gets that Muslim bloc vote?
Well, we don't know, but the way it works is that the way we've seen in past elections is that very often Muslim voting is strategically at the constituency level. Right. So the rule of thumb is that if it becomes a stop Modi vote by the Muslim community, it just really depends on who's the strongest non-BJP candidate in that state or in that constituency. Effectively, I think it is going to help the Congress in the Hindi heartland, because the other serious party that are vying for Muslim votes are really out of the running nationally. And so I do think that if you were to if you had to take a bet, disproportionately it helps the Congress.
Chidanand, let's talk about the other party that we're hearing about, and that's the Aam Aadmi Party.
Can I come in at this point?
Sanjay, I'll get to you in a moment. We just want to talk about the Aam Aadmi Party here, which is a party which is basically, its platform is anti-corruption. What kind of a role are they going to be playing in this election?
They seem to have lost steam, Anand. They began promisingly, and there was a great deal of euphoria, particularly among young, educated voters, the middle class. The anti-corruption platform that they came up with had a great deal of appeal, and they had a young leader who was very personable, particularly on television, social media. He broke a lot of new ground. But the big letdown was when they sort of gave up on running the government in Delhi, which they had won the prize of the Delhi government, and after 49 days they just they just resigned and gave up. And that sent a bad message that they're not ready for responsibility yet.
Right, so at a national level, they won't be playing any kind of kingmaker role.
The interesting thing is everyone is looking at Delhi itself, Delhi city itself. There are 7 seats there. If they win 3 or 4 or 5, they'll have a presence in the national capital, maybe in some other urban pockets. But nationwide, they don't seem to have caught their imagination. In fact, they seem to have lost some of their steam.
Okay, Sanjay, you're in New Delhi. You wanted to say something about Muslim support for Congress.
2 things about the Muslim support of Congress. The difficulty with the Congress is that they have already lost a large section of Muslim support because Congress is getting the Muslim vote only in the Hindi heartland state. And unfortunately, these are the states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, where Muslims are not in sizable numbers. But in all the states where Muslims are in sizable numbers, Congress has already declined, which is the states of West Bengal, Assam, Bihar, UP. To some extent in Kerala, they are present with their allies. But these are the 4 big states where you have sizable number of Muslim votes, and Congress has already lost the Muslim vote to the regional party. So actually, nationally also the Congress gets little, like in the range of 30 to 35% Muslim vote. So Muslim vote is not going to come to the rescue of Congress in 2014 elections because they are not in sizable number in states where Congress would still be playing some role in the electoral contest.
Okay, so
about the Aam Aadmi Party,
right.
If elections were held 2 months back, I think, sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead.
saying about the Aam Aadmi Party, if elections were held 2 months back, they would have won all the 7 seats in Delhi. But now I think they might win, say, couple of seats, not more than that. And the momentum of Aam Aadmi Party has certainly disappeared. This has been admitted by Kejriwal also, and now many of the senior leaders have started admitting that giving up the Delhi government was a mistake. Earlier, they didn't realize that. They thought that this would be seen as a sacrifice, and they would actually be able to create a wave across the country, which has backfired. And now people know that most of the people have not taken it up as a good thing by the government.
Okay, Sadanand, I want to look at one demographic issue, and that is, we talked about over 800 million people voting in this election, 814 million voters. More than 378 million of India's voters, eligible voters, are under 35 in this election. It's a young electorate. So what are the main concerns, you think, of India's youth?
I think that's really been the biggest advantage for Modi and the BJP, because all polls show that these under 35 people are the ones who overwhelmingly support the BJP. In fact, the younger you go, the greater the support for the BJP is. And the reason is really simple. These are the people who have been exposed to faster growth after liberalization in '91. They have higher expectations of the economy. They're severely disappointed by the state of the economy and jobs having dried up. And they seem to believe, rightly or wrongly, that a Modi-led administration can restore growth and give them jobs. And that is why you find that Modi has support cutting across caste, cutting across the rural-urban divide that we've seen traditionally in India. A lot of that is being driven by overwhelming support among the younger sections of society.
Okay, Chidanand, we've spoken about some of the major issues that will dominate this election, things like the economy, corruption, unemployment, etc. One other issue, and that is the Maoist insurgency. How will a BJP government handle that?
My sense is it's a problem. It's a perennial problem. It's not going to disappear anytime soon. I don't see the BJP having any great solutions to this issue either. What it really needs is tremendous economic growth, and particularly in the Maoist infested areas. You know, there has to be those areas have to get special attention, special development packages. And in fact, I fear that it could get worse because the BJP, and particularly a Modi-led government development agenda, it will be so driven with development agenda that there are many other concerns which might fall on the wayside. You know, land acquisition, for instance, is a sore issue there. And if anything, you know, things could even get aggravated. So I don't see BJP coming up with any solution or addressing this problem so easily.
Okay, gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it there. Time's caught up with us. Thanks to all of you for joining us.